Pleasant good morning to one and all. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. Today is Wednesday, so you have the regular Wednesday episode, Wednesday, the 4th day of October 2023. Welcome one and all. Share the live. Let people know that we're on and we're ready to go. We are raring and ready. My co-defendant is already in the studio and he is anxious for us to be with you and to teach and to share valuable information. We have so much to talk about today, so much. I am almost certain that we are not going to be able to get through all the subjects that we identified. But we have said to you that we're not going to deprive you of this valuable education. So if it is that we can't finish it today, perhaps we can agree to the extra lessons. You know the thing, extra lessons. If you can't deal with all the subjects during the regular class hours, maybe we'll have extra lessons. At the end of the program, depending on how we go, I let you know. I have noted record numbers of students in the schoolyard last night. And when I saw those numbers, I felt good because, they say that there's safety in numbers. So if one or two in there, those deranged, depraved criminals might come and attack you. But when you have numbers, that is going to deter them from attacking. So it was so good to see all these students lining up in the schoolyard. As early as yesterday afternoon, believe it or not, we scheduled the program early. And as early as yesterday afternoon, when we do the roll call, you will see we have an extended roll call this morning. Well, they say roll call is important. So we are going to have the roll call in a short while. Well, you know, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. So many persons are not that fortunate. I see people from all over, We will see them when we do the roll call. So yes, give praise, give thanks, share the life, let them know that we are here. A lot of people are apologizing for missing Monday class. You know, the Monday is a new thing, and we can understand if you miss it because this is not the regular schedule, and that is why I continue to encourage you to like or to follow the Facebook page Speaking Out, and to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So whenever we have these unscheduled, more or less, classes, you're going to get the notification once we post the notification, and once we go live, you are going to get the information. Again, I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and to follow. A lot of people have been following the Facebook page, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. I get notification when you follow. So I know when you follow the page. And a lot of people I can see have not followed as yet. So share the live. Let them know that we're here. Lots of things to talk about today. Lots of interesting subjects. All our subjects are interesting subjects. So today is going to be no exception. But let me run the roll call as quickly as I can, because as I've said, we have a record number of students in the class, in the schoolyard last night, and then very early this morning, as soon as the gate opened, they ran in. When the school door opened a short while ago, a whole set of people run into the class, everybody looking to get a front seat. So, share. This page is growing rapidly. It is growing rapidly. Thousands and thousands of people. As I indicated last week, we did a short clip on the policia. We did a short clip. That thing has had over 100,000 views. Over 100,000. A lot of people have made what I consider positive comments. So we're gonna continue to spread the word. We're gonna continue to tell you the truth. And if people are offended by the truth, that is on them. We don't have a care about that. We're gonna tell the truth, and we challenge them. If we see anything that is incorrect or is false, let them come and identify what is false. They can't do that, so they send out the trolls, they send out the jagabats, they send out the trench crappos and the amphibians to come and to say all sort of things. They tell you how you're ugly, they tell you how you need to take a shower, all kind of crap they come and they say. But we're not bothered. We're not going to be distracted by that. A matter of fact, those things are going to motivate us to be here more often, because we recognize that this truth is getting under their skin, so we need to tell the truth. Now, the first person in the class, look, yesterday afternoon, the first person, this is not really the first person, I made a note, but you can see 7:31 p.m., that is last night. There were other persons before, but apparently the hours, Facebook may have done something to it. But I know that people were here from since 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Then we had family music. Melissa Vibord came in, and this is all people last night, 8:07 p.m. Floyd came in, always proud to put his number. Raul was here last night. Barbara Barled came in. Just only last night, people, we didn't get to this morning yet. Felicia, Cecile came in. Sydney came in there and he came back. Leslie came in just before midnight. Leslie came in last night. And then this first person this morning was Lucius. Then the Chipper 68 came in. We had Glenn came in at 2:40 this morning. And they're telling you all what they're doing. Then Yvonne Carton, my squad mate, he was here at 3:56 this morning. Vibert from the East Bank, he came in at 4:54. You get it right, co-defendant, no longer co-accused. It is not an indictment matter. Co-defendant, I told his viewers or those who are in school, on Monday I explained the difference. Then you had the original black man here at 5:06. Joan came in next. We had, Joan said she reached the gate a little late. at the school gate. Hazel, Tessa, these are all people this morning. 5:51, Tessa was here. Denise, these DJ Ice Rider, Dawn, Derek, Kevin, Sean, don't miss it. Sean, you came in 6:23 this morning. Colin from Queens, Pauline came in. John Como from New Jersey, 8218, he came in at 6:42. Kerry came in next. Then you have TK, came in here at 7:06 this morning. Ruth came in at 7:09. Caesar Court came in at 7:12. He said he present. Bart came in this morning. You see how many people we're talking about? Large numbers. Carville, my Scotty, came in at 7:28. Stefan came in. Then we had Jason Wayne from the UK was here at 7:31, followed by Ulrich. Then a regular, don't miss. Stian, the man who describes himself as in a certain way. He said that his uncle was 86-13. I don't recall 86-13. I know 86-14 was strong dance, Liverpool. Can't recall 13. Winston, Maureen. Then we have another Winston came in there at 8. John Knights, I missed you a few weeks. John is here. Courtney, Vernon, Henrik, Johnny, Desiree. We had Brian, Michael Brower, 14126, all the way from the British Virgin Islands. Emerson at 906. Machu, Everett from Texas. Danny, I may have misstated Danny number, making sure I remember is 9731. There was 9731 Daniels and 9732 Daniels. So if I made a mistake, my apologies. My squad mate at 9414 is here. Jacko is here. Aileen came in at 926. Family Music. My next squad mate, Doreen, all the way from Canada, she's here very early. At 9:30. Pamela came in. Another squad mate of mine, Sheila, came in at 9:31. Another squad mate of mine, BX, came in at 9:33. And then we have Randolph came in. Randolph, I remember you, 12538. I remember you and your twin brother. I remember you and your twin brother. I will say no more at this time. Then we have all the way from Canada, 9795 Young. Then we have Sheena, Sandra, Granville. All these are people who are here so early this morning. Tulia, I hope I pronounced that right. Keelan, Daniel, 15847. Then we have Evelyn, Tamo. Tamo came in at 10:25. Rhonda came next. Chilo was in class. Gordon from Canada, 6659. Old Police came in. Marlin, Rahim, Malcolm came in. He said he was absent a few weeks and he's here now. Then we had Patricia here, Rohan, the regular, David. All these people are in class before we got the door was open. Sydney, Princess, don't miss a class. Sydney came in here. Princess came in at 10:56. Ted came in at 10:56 as well. Valita Klein came in at 10:59. John came in exactly 11. And then for the Facebook, we had Commissioner Cole, we had Raul. Commissioner Cole, I missed you a few weeks. Simone, Joyce, Pamela, Lynette from Barbados, and the list goes on and on and on. We had Orin, Paulette, Petal. So we're going to come back, and well, sometimes I always promise to come back, but time catches up with us, we don't get to come back. So let me move into the program. I want to start off by, sometime on this sad note. We got word of the passing of a former member. We announcing the death of retired ex-detective sergeant 10783 Aubrey Joseph. Aubrey Joseph, who hails from Sisters Village and the Sisters Village, Barbies. He passed away recently. Condolences to his relatives, friends, surviving persons, and so on. So, yeah. Again, this ex-detective sergeant 10783 Aubrey Joseph. And then on the brighter side, birthday greetings today. I remember Francis. He's on the live. I think I saw him there. Francis, he's in Laurelton, Queens, I think it is. Happy birthday to you, my brother. Happy 73rd, I think you said it would be. So happy birthday to you. We did do a shout out on Monday, but today is the real day. So happy birthday to Francis Keith Ratcliffe, regular on the program. And then today is the birthday too of retired Superintendent Trevor Husbands. Trevor is celebrating his natal day today. Happy birthday to you. And a regular on the program too, a country woman of mine, Nibert Emmanuel. She's also celebrating her birthday to you. So happy birthday to all those persons who are celebrating today. And we have some belated birthday greetings. Belated birthday greetings. We have woman Corporal Leslyn Wills. She celebrated her birthday on the 27th. Then we had ex-detective Cosbert Europe. He celebrated on the 29th. Then we have retired ASP Osman Mason. He celebrated his birthday yesterday. And also recently, you were informed that Deputy Superintendent Vishnu Hunt celebrated a birthday. So, birthday greetings to all those who are celebrating today and all those who celebrated recently. Before I bring my colleague in, I want to extend best wishes, congratulations to woman Inspector Vanessa Leach. I saw a clipping on the social media that she recently went into retirement. I think they're saying she retired from the 1st of October. They had a little function for her. And Vanessa, welcome to the retirement club. And as I've indicated repeatedly, this club don't have rank. We respect persons for who they are. So welcome to the retirement club. Long ago, they used to talk about the retirement bench. So welcome, Vanessa. You have served well. I think they said 34 years. A lot of the general office, and then you were the secretary to the police finance officer. And then they said that you retired at the audit unit. So normally when you go to the audit unit, it's because they're deciding that they're going to get rid of you, to push you aside. I don't know what were the circumstances of you going there, but I think that is what is generally said. And I should have done this since last week, another regular on the program, Carlton Popo, Anthony. Carlton, I want to thank you for the contribution. Much appreciated, my brother. Much appreciated. It was received with a lot of gratitude. And I noted your comments when you sent that little token. These things are appreciated. And I must say thank you very much. Now let me bring in my colleague, Mr. Conway. CC, welcome to this program. Only a few days ago we were here, Monday, but here we are again on Wednesday to another episode. What do you have to say at this stage?
Just to say good morning to all. Happy to be in the land of the living doing God's work. I know we have quite a lot of work to do, but I want to say special congratulations to the Guyana Police Force Athletics team at the National Senior Championship AAG. They retained the championship trophy, and I think the Lance Corporal Shonte Brown was the best athlete, winning the high jump, the triple jump, and second in the javelin. So congratulations to them, and may they keep up the good work in sports, and maybe some of the sports success will turn over to other aspects of real policing.
Well, that's good. Congratulations to them too. Congratulations. You know, it's always good when you have a little bit of good news, because most time the news is so coming out of the force is very, very depressing. So when you hear that they do good, we have got to celebrate and we have got to congratulate them. But moving on again, I noted my brother lying in the news again for the wrong reasons. I read a few days ago where a boat was intercepted with over 1,000 kilograms of cocaine. Let me repeat that, not pounds, not ounces, of 1,000, they say over 1 ton of cocaine intercepted some boat. The boat is registered, they say, it bears a Guyanese registration. 4 Guyanese and 2 Albanians were on board. So here again, we in the news to the wrong thing, and the question is asked is who letting these things pass? Cici, you want to comment on that? Who letting the cocaine pass, my brother?
Well, we know when certain people are in government, cocaine will pass, and 1,000 kilos of cocaine is not no ordinary amount, and they got to be big people very, very big people, allowing the cocaine to pass. And they're going to pass and then get catch up the DA on their backs. We're hearing about money laundering and drug smuggling and all that kind of thing. Well, it's coming to pass and maybe more to come, Paul.
Yeah, the commission said the name of the boat was Machu, and the news item said that this was an operation between the DA, the Drug Enforcement Authority of the U.S., and the Spanish, what they said, the Spanish Navy. They are the ones who intercepted this boat. And there was another boat intercepted too, somewhere off island, with even a larger amount of cocaine, something in the vicinity of 70 something million euros worth of cocaine intercepted. But as we said, moon does run till they catch them. Moon a run till they catch up. So yeah, that is it. We are in the news to the wrong thing. In the news, making news for the wrong thing. And remember, as CC said, big ones, but I would say that when you talk about a ton of cocaine, it's not no ordinary pusher. That got to be big people, big organized arrangement to have that amount and that type of arrangement which is being traveled in the high seas for it to be incepted. Big thing. Big. That is big runnings. That is big runnings. But CC yesterday, I gotta laugh, man. You are involved in trading for a long time, so maybe you can bear us out with this one. This matter with Boss Com, the sergeant who was the whistleblower, who said that $30 million was paid to a senior police officer to cover by a prominent businessman to cover up the Paper Shards murder. He went on social media, and he made a lot of noise. He said, well, he got a breakdown and he spew a lot of expletives and so on cybercrime charges. I think he's charged for cybercrime in relation to the head of the the serious crime unit, Michel Caesar, made a complaint that because of the utterances of Boscom, he was emotionally disturbed. Well, you see, we getting emotionally disturbed, They also charge him for emotionally disturbing Chabinat Singh, who is the man in charge of CID at A Division. At least he was at that time. I don't know if he still is. So the trial of these cybercrime charges commence. And I understand that the head of the OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility, recently gave evidence in the matter. And he was being cross-examined by attorney for Mr. Bascom, Nigel Hughes. And he said, he had said in his evidence in chief that he cautioned the defendant, Bascom. So Mr. Hughes put him under some pressure and asked him where and when he cautioned Bascom. I know what the man said. This is a deputy superintendent of the police who spent years in the CID. He is in charge of the Office of Professional Responsibility. He said he cautioned Bascom over the phone. The man said that he administered the caution over the phone. And let me say this before bringing CC. The police propaganda unit have been saying over the years that they caution and then they arrest the person. That is a sequence of events. And we have pointed out repeatedly that you can't caution before you arrest. You have to arrest, tell the person what they're arrested for, and then you administer the caution, right? But in this case, he cautioned the man on the phone. So somebody said to me, somebody remarked on social media, that if he cautioned Bascom on the phone, it means that he effected the arrest on the phone as well. Because if it is, as we're saying, you have to arrest and then caution, unlike what the people are saying, and this is to the policemen in particular, you can't caution a person before they're arrested. You have to tell them, arrest them, tell them what you arrested them for, and then you administer the caution. But they have been saying that the person was cautioned and arrested. But in this case, the man was cautioned over the phone. So if he was cautioned over the phone, it follows logically that he may have been arrested over the phone as well. CC, let me hear what you got to say on this one.
Well,
let me hear you.
A lot of them don't really understand the judge's rule. And about caution, we had it where the former mayor where the head of the CID in 4A, Division 4A, he had to read a piece of paper. I'm really caution to the former mayor. Reading a piece of paper. I learned over 50 years ago, and I could tell you, but I could repeat it. You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But what you say will be taken down in writing and given evidence. That is the simple caution. And they don't understand the caution. And it's not shocking that the head of the OPR will say caution a man over the telephone. While other things will come. If our case is in court, and you're gonna hear about some imaginary caution. You're gonna hear that man say he cautioned somebody and he made an entry in a pocketbook when the diary at Breakdown police station wasn't available. Some imaginary caution, and I see the writing statement and I caution him. Then get date, then get time, then get place where this caution took place. Just a wrong statement, and I caution him. No date, no time, no place. So there is a total breach of the judge's rule, and most times, in terms of the judge's rule, the caution statement is the only thing they got. Where the person admit to the caution, and the vendor goes through the window, out goes the case. It is gone. I don't know what the treat what all the training them, but when it coming from the head of the OPR that he gonna caution somebody over the telephone, well, something is radically wrong. Something is wrong, 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 wrong. And I say you're gonna hear it gonna come to light some imaginary caution.
Yeah, well, let me say this. I know the head of the OPR, Deputy Superintendent Beard, and when I heard this thing, I must say that I'm disappointed. I'm shocked and disappointed because he was supposed to be one of the better policemen. He's supposed to be a churchman and all that. He's supposed to be one of the better policemen. If you didn't caution him, I didn't caution him on. But they feel compelled to put in things, and then on the cross-examination now, they look so terrible because the liars are going to press, and the fact that you are lying is going to be borne out. It's going to be borne out, and there goes your credibility. Because if the man, a deputy superintendent of police, who spent a long time in the CID, is going to make a statement like that he cautioned someone over the telephone. And then more than that, you say when the lawyer asks him, then if you caution the man over the telephone, you caution the defendant of the telephone. What was his response? He said he can't remember the person's response. Can you imagine that? You are administering a caution, and our training, my training is that once you caution someone, you have to make a note of the response of the person because there is evidence. There is evidence. And you are saying that you administered the caution on the defendant and you cannot remember what his response was. And Baird, I'm disappointed in you, man. I must say, I am terribly, terribly disappointed in you, and the little respect that I may have had for you gone down, because I know that you're not one of the, but put it this way, using countryman language, you're not one of the duncer ones. You're supposed to be one of them that know a little bit policing, and one would have expected you to acquit yourself better. If you did not caution, you did not caution. You must not feel compelled to go and to tell lies. And yes, Toro, you're telling lies. You're telling a lie on the oath. You can expose yourself to criminal liability because you're on the oath and you're telling a lie that you caution when they might very well find evidence that you did not do so. You open yourself to all types of criminal liability. Well, with the BPP, you don't get charged. You never charged for that. But see again, the man said he can't remember what was the response of the person who he cautioned. Can you imagine that?
To as lie and still more lies, And when you tell one lie, you gotta tell another one for cover up the lie and all kind of thing.
But
Lie.
that's where the thing. That's where the thing does go haywire, because once you tell a lie, first of all, you got to remember the lie that you told, and then you got to tell other lies to try to cover up that lie, and it's an old downward spiral. So I have always said that tell the truth,
Yeah.
as we have been doing. Tell the truth. I have sworn to several affidavits, and I tell them I'm telling the truth. Mark Phillips swore to affidavit and tell lie, and he get revealed lie. The secretary of the police office, Commissioner Jai Govind Jai Singh, affidavit tell lie. You're telling lies. Why? Because at the end of the day, when you are given an affidavit to sign, my lawyers will tell you when they send affidavit, when affidavits are prepared, I have an integral part in the preparation of the affidavit. And anything that I'm not sure about, I will tell them, no, I'm not sure about this. This needs to be taken out. That needs to be taken out. I tell them because I'm signing. I am signing, right? Well, all you can say embarrassing, them people ain't got shame, you know. The people don't have shame. And only if you know the person, I think CC will know him as well. I'll be disappointed in him. I'm very, very disappointed in Beard to come and say, yes, Ral, sci-fi policing. And I told somebody, you know, a man made a comment, and the man said, impossible. This is a man who was a prosecutor out of the years. He's now retired. He made a comment on social media, say it is impossible. You cannot caution someone over the phone. I said, by we are used long time. What we know, them man using technology now for do all of these things. So maybe they are right and we are wrong. I said, well, you know, in a kind of a light-hearted way too. I said, well, you know, we talking about them whole time thing that you can't caution over phone. Them man know now technology. You can arrest that over phone and other things happen over the phone now. So I am disappointed in the head of the OPR, and it brings us to the point that a lot of these matters are sent every year. OPR can investigate. The David Patterson fiasco at the airport when he was prevented from leaving unlawfully. The first thing to jump, OPR will investigate what went wrong with the procedure. And here it is, you have a man in charge of OPR who cautioned a man over telephone and cannot remember the response of the person when the caution was administered. He can't remember the response because no caution was administered. And again, I say that once you caution someone, you have to make a note of what the response is. That becomes evidence, whatever you say, because you're telling him. You're not obliged to say anything. And anything you say will be taken down and maybe given evidence against you. So you have to make sure that you have a note of the time, the place, what the response was. And to hear the senior detective, deputy superintendent is saying this in court when he's cross-examined, it is really, really, really sad. It's really, really, really sad. And Ari is saying it, remember train the guy in the academy and all that. People making comment, which we're gonna deal with. CC talking about training. I noted, buddy, last night a news item which says that let me try to find it. It says a news item to say an unspecified number of Guyanese police are to deploy to Haiti to assist with the training of Haitian police as part of the United Nations-backed mission to take back the country from violent gangs and pave the way for long overdue elections, a well-placed source said. So according to this article, it's a Demerara Waves article last night, Guyana sending police to Haiti to help with training. Already, let me tell you something. This thing sounds so ridiculous. You got right there, you can't train your own. You're talking about Haiti where they speak French. You're sending people from Guyana to train. CC, you're part of the group for train, buddy.
Boy, you know, they don't even have instructors. People don't even know about methods of instruction. I wonder what they're saying there. I don't know. It doesn't sound right at all that they don't have real instructors, and they can prove me wrong when I say that. In the true sense of it, they don't have instructors at the college, and they're saying it's academy. Teach them what? I don't know what they're going to teach. But time will tell.
Well, maybe that's why they're gonna send for you. Maybe that's why they're gonna send for you. Rome Sumera, them gonna forget that you know they're on this program. They're gonna send you to assist. But the thing is ridiculous. Look, let me understand this clearly. I have nothing wrong with Guyana participating in a peacekeeping or any type of mission in Haiti to restore some type of semblance of order to that country. A lot of things going wrong in that country. I have nothing wrong with that. I recall, and my viewers may recall, if you don't, let me tell you, back in 1989, I led a contingent of policemen to Namibia to work with the United Nations. We were there for like about 10 months during the transition for Namibia to gain independence from South Africa. They had the United Nations Transition Assistance Group, UNTAG, and I was a contingent commander there. I, along with 29 other Guyanese policemen. But I was peacekeeping to do patrols and to take reports and all of that. But when you hear, and later on, I think sometime shortly after, we also had a mission to Rwanda led by Refor Johnson. I can't remember what his rank was at the time. But yeah, we have had people participating in UN missions before as peacekeepers. I served there and I got the United Nations Peace Medal, which I have been wearing proudly on occasions. And I see nothing wrong with us participating in that peacekeeping force, whatever form it takes. But to tell me that the Guyana police force sending people to train policemen in that place there, to me is a joke. You have to forgive me, I'm laughing, but I find it very, very funny. I find it very, very funny that we sending people to train and when we don't even have people to train our own people. And this release goes on, let me tell you about the hypocrisy of this thing. As I said, nothing wrong with going to train. But then the article goes on to quote the Foreign Secretary. I got to read. Ghana Foreign Secretary Raul Prasad said that on Monday, Ghana was among 4 non-members of the United Nations Security Council that participated and spoke, joining Haiti, Kenya, and Jamaica for the Caribbean community on the adoption of a resolution authorizing a multinational security support mission to Haiti. He noted that the United Nations, United Kingdom, and France voted in favor of the resolution, while China and Russia abstained. Mr. Prasad also credited Guyana President Irfan Ali with securing a humanitarian corridor between the Dominican Republic and Haiti after Santo Domingo closed its borders with the former French colony. He goes on to say this is a bare hypocrisy. I'm going to tell you why we're saying that. Then he goes on to say President Ali, after meeting with the heads of the United States Agency for International Development in Washington, D.C., was prompt to secure humanitarian supplies for the affected Haitians. That's what Prasad said. And finally, he says his Guyana stands on the side of our Haitian people, and at the end, let me read about. Guyana stands on the side of the Haitian people at an end to the humanitarian and political crisis which have been affecting our sister Caribbean nations for decades. But I find this thing so hypocritical. We stand on the side of the Haitian people with corridor and so on. We banned them basically from coming to Guyana. When they were found, they were deported. Guyana now, even though Haiti is a CARICOM country, Guyana get laws now, they pass laws. Haitians got to get visa for come to Guyana. And what makes it even more ridiculous, the closest place they could go to get the visa is the United States. So if an Haitian want to come to Guyana, they have to go to the United States, get a visa, and then to travel to Guyana. Where in the meanwhile, boatloads and boatloads of Venezuelans turning up on the border. So this statement by the Foreign Secretary about what it says about we providing humanitarian support, humanitarian political crisis. We find support to end this thing. It is hypocritical, Mr. Conway. What are your views on that?
Yeah, but I remember years ago too, maybe shortly after you came back from Namibia, we had I think you were Superintendent Arlington Samuels led a Guyana delegation to um to Haiti. But that was peacekeeping. That had nothing to do with training. I think De Labs was also a member of it. It had nothing to do with training. Peacekeeping is far different from training. And as you rightly mentioned, we have been treating the Haitians like though they're not members of CARICOM. We deporting them. We say that they're part of the human trafficking. They're passing through Haiti and they're going to Suriname and they're going to French Guiana and end up elsewhere. And as you mentioned here, that they can't get visa to come to Guyana. and then they gotta go to the States to get a visa before they come to Guyana. Real hypocrisy. But I am not surprised that those words came from Robert Prasad, if you attribute it to him. Remember, he go and he lie about the opposition and engagement with Jeffers, and he's saying that they didn't look at inclusive government and all kind of things. So lies, and still more lies, Paul.
Well, people, and you got to point these things out because to make these political statements and maybe the supporters are going to believe, but any right-thinking person, people, those who have been following the news, will know that they're telling lies. How can you say that you are giving support and then and this is in the past 3 years since this government came into power, Haitians in Guyana deported, changed the law, so even though they are a member of CARICOM, they are not a member of CARICOM in that they have to get visa to come to Guyana. And then you're talking about assistance. Again, I say, the United Nations mounting a mission. I would think that maybe they can send people to keep the peace, members of the Guyana Defense Force, peacekeepers to patrol and all of that. And it's a good thing it reminded me about Sammy. Yeah, Sammy. So I went to Namibia in 1989. We came back in 1990. Then after that, you had Johnson took a mission to Rwanda when they had the battle between the Tutsis and the Hutus and so on. Now we had policemen there. We had a contingent of policemen there. And as you rightly pointed out, much later, Sammy Arlington Samuels took a mission to Haiti. But that was peacekeeping. That was peacekeeping. But when you're going to tell us that you're going into trade, first of all, the people speaking French, they are French speaking. So you send in English speaking policemen, you send in the English speaking policia, yes, they are Spanish now, to go and say that they're going to teach these people. Look, and let me say this further, because I know that when you participate in these missions, you get financial rewards. The country get financial rewards. So maybe it's the money they're looking for. Maybe it's the money they're looking for. The country gets compensation from the United Nations providing the troops or the policemen, whatever you want to call them. So maybe it's the money they are looking for. And as somebody pointed out, in the midst of this, you sending, are you keeping all this problem with the Haitians? And let me show you the clip with the Venezuelans. Somebody spoke about it. Let me show you the clip, and then we're going to talk about it in a short while. Look. That's a clip of Venezuelans, a short clip, much longer. It's a long interview with Venezuelans landing at Tushan for sure sometime last week. And when they landed, according to the report, they were given preferential treatment. They were taken in, and shortly thereafter, they were released. Shortly thereafter, they were released. And we're going to talk more about this whole Venezuelan issue, right? So to come to say, yeah, Venezuela, remember, Venezuela has been laying claim to 2/3 of Guyana. I showed it already. Let me put it back so you could understand what we're talking about here. Venezuela saying 2/3 of Guyana belongs to them. Look them up. Look them up. Venezuela is saying. And let me take this opportunity to congratulate and compliment the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yesterday, October the 3rd, was the anniversary of the 1899 Arbitral Award, where the borders between Venezuela and Guyana, the border was drawn, showing that Essequibo is part of Guyana. And I love the article that they wrote, and I encourage all our students here and others to read it. I posted on this same Speaking Out webpage. It is there because what they did, they told us how this thing came about. The 1899 Arbitral Award, where they met and they discussed submissions, and at the end of the day, this border was drawn between Guyana and Venezuela. And for decades, Venezuela accepted that was the border. They even published maps showing that that is the border. In other words, the border to show that Essequibo was part of Guyana. And the article says that it was not until 1962, as Guyana was negotiating to get independence from Britain, that they came up with this claim, this spurious claim. In other words, they reneged on the agreement that they had signed. They reneged on the agreement, and then they started to lay claim to Essequibo. And one of the ridiculous things that they said, some Frenchman who participated in the process, on his dying bed, said that there was some corrupt deal between the Americans and the Americans and the British. Because remember, this wasn't Guyana, it was British Guyana. So the British had this negotiation with the Americans, and they decided on the Venezuelans, and they decided on the border. And then they decide that, look, after, when they realized that Guyana was going towards independence, in other words, you would no longer be a British colony. Then in 1962, they raised this claim to say some corruption in the process, and that is it. And we decided for years, you remember United Nations, they had a good officer process where the United Nations Secretary General decided to get what they call a good officer to arbitrate in this thing and so on. And they have resisted all those things all over all the years. The coalition government, I got to give credit where credit is due, was able to get this thing to go to the International Court of Justice. Venezuela objected, claiming that the International Court of Justice does not have jurisdiction to determine this border issue. It was only, I think, April this year that the International Court of Justice ruled that they have jurisdiction to determine the border. So the matter is going to be ventilated at the International Court. They don't want to wait. No. They come up now claiming that they're going to have a referendum to determine the issue. In other words, they're telling you that they're not going to be bothered with whatever the International Court of Justice is saying. The referendum will determine that. And as we have said, the Venezuelans have been brought up to believe that the Essequibo is part of Venezuela, that they're indoctrinated in that way. And so we have a situation now where thousands and thousands of Venezuelans are coming to Guyana, are settling in Guyana, especially in the Essequibo, and we have to be careful with that. We have to be careful. Retired Chief of Staff Gary Best had a letter recently, and he was making the drawing the parallel between the Crimea and with Russia and Ukraine, where in Crimea, a lot of Russian-speaking people lived there over the years, and they speak Russian, and Russian use some excuse to invade and to take over Crimea way back, I think 2014 or something then, and they are still there. Oh, the Russian-speaking people wanted them to be there because they feel that they're part of Russia and all of that. We have got to be careful. We have got to be extremely careful. Right? So next thing you know, next 20, 30 years, if not before, you're going to hear so many Venezuelans in Essequibo, and then Venezuela can decide, well, the Spanish-speaking people here want us to come and to rescue them, or some crap like that. So we got to be careful. So again, congratulations to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for putting out this information there yesterday. But I said, there is a good beginning. That is a good beginning, but you can't end there. You have got to ramp up, ratchet up your educational program. That is a good start. The airwaves, social media, billboards, rather than spending billboard and get it for sale, well, respect the road with the squatter, the man who is squatting the commissioner of police photograph, big on the thing, rather than spending money to have the word policia emblazoned on police vehicles and other Spanish signs in police station. Spend money and educate Guyanese. I found it very refreshing, that article yesterday. Spend money, let Guyanese know what this whole border issue is all about. Let them know what the border issue is all about. A lot of people, I've said it, don't know. They don't know. So spend your money. Flyers. You know, I went into a place the other day, and I saw bumper stickers saying that Essequibo belongs to Guyana. That is what you have to have. All them vehicles around the place should have that. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. And I want to compliment that business entity for that initiative. I don't know if they're the ones who produce it, but at least they were distributing it. So you have to have that. You have to have education. People must know that Guyanese, that Essequibo belongs to Guyana. You should have organized, the government should organize big rally, as we have said before, big rally to show our togetherness. We should let the world know that despite our political differences, when it comes to our territorial integrity, we are united. We are united. So far, people are not going to see that. A statement here and a statement there, in my view, will not cut it. But let me bring in CC for him to offer his views on this. CC.
Not a blade of grass. We need to look at this thing broader and deeper, Paul. That this thing is a serious matter. The boat people turn up. I mean, some of our Guyanese heritage, some Guyanese parents, Guyanese mothers, Guyanese fathers, and all that. But a lot in there understand what Venezuelan and they process them. Whatever the process meant, and they're given preferential treatment. Since the crisis started in Venezuela, I think they have over 1 million has gone to Colombia. And if we don't really look at it or handle this thing properly, you'll find there again more Spanish people than Guyanese, more Venezuelan than Guyanese, and that will give them the opportunity. You mentioned what Gary Best posited with the Russians, and let me say a couple of things, because I read an article in Sunday Times dealing with the same people, and here's what they're saying. The Minister Mufer is saying, and I quote him from the article. In this case, we are told, in this case, we told the police to seize the boat. This is a truly operational matter, and police is for operation. How will the minister get involved in operational matter again and again and again? That he telling the police to seize the boats. The police must know what they got to do. And the minister getting involved in operational matter. Now, here again, go on the same article. Here they quoting the minister. According to the minister, these migrants appear to come from well out of the Atlantic Ocean. Ben spoke of floating bases where it is believed migrants are stashed until they can be brought inland under the cover of darkness. Let me go over. According to the minister, these migrants appear to come from well out of the Atlantic Ocean. Ben spoke of floating bases where it is believed migrants are stashed until they can be brought inland under the cover of darkness. We have 270 miles sea coast, 270, stretching from Wilson Creek to Region 1. It covers Region 2, Region 3, Region 4, Region 5, and Region 6. That is on the coast, the waterway. 270 miles. We can't able to police it. We don't have the equipment. We don't have the manpower. And outside in our economic zone, or 200 miles economic zone, there is where the oil is. And there is where the oil is. And there is where the minister saying, if we have to believe him, that they are stashed on floating bases, easy access to Guyana, come through the Winey, come through the Mora Passage, come through Moruga, and then the vice president that said about giving them access to our waterways into the Atlantic, talking about using the Cayuni, the Mazaroni, the Potaro, the Rupununi, the Essequibo. And then in Region 1, easy access through the Aruka River, the Borima River, the Moruco River, the Mora Passage, Shell Beach, And all those areas where they can easily come, and when they come, you're giving them preferential treatment. The thing is frightening. And for us, what happened the other day there on Region 3, they're just testing the water. They're testing the water to see what could be done. They get through there, and then they'll be at there and other locations by the boatloads. I know we don't read about what's going on in the Mediterranean, where people are fleeing Libya, crossing the Mediterranean by the thousands in boats. Many don't make it. And here is it: free access to Venezuela, free access through our waterways to the Atlantic, where our oil is, where we saying that by the year end we'll have at least 50% increase in our economy, go by year, and next year 100%, and we giving Venezuelan access to it. We bringing Venezuela like crazy. We bringing in like crazy. Look at what is happening in the Mediterranean. Look at what is happening worldwide with immigrants. And here is it: we are giving them preferential treatment. They'll get more Spanish people than Guyanese before long if we don't quell this, if we don't stop it. We listen to the IOM, the International.
Check your mic. I think, CC, I think you're muted there now. All right. I think my colleague has some technical issues there. The mic may be muted. So CC, check to see. I just stay there. You stop. Right, but let me say in the meanwhile, while you try to sort it out, I don't see it muted from my end, but while you try to sort it out, let me say, Winston said here that there was a letter yesterday by Sir Shurdat Ramphal in yesterday's paper on the border issue. He said that was also instructive and informative. I have not read it. I'll go immediately following this program. I'll go to see that letter, because as we said, is education and information we have to get. We have to get education and information. And to say to you, yesterday, October the 3rd, was a special day for me. I wrote something on social media. On the 3rd, it was on the 3rd of October, 1969. As a youth man, as they would say, a teenager, I left and I joined the Guyana Youth Corps. You know, one of the reasons why I joined is because of this same Venezuelan issue. They were saber rattling during those days. If you recall, and again, these things are not taught in school. On the 2nd of January, 1969, that's the first working day in 1969. You had the Rupununi uprising, led by the Melvilles and the Art, where they killed 5 policemen at the Lethem station and wanted to break away. Lethem would be a breakaway state. And it is said that they were trained, armed, and backed by Venezuelans, because the Venezuelans wanted them to rebel. And as far as I read, Rupununi was to be annexed to Venezuela. That was the plan. So we got to be careful with these things. And when the people fled and they went to Brazil and they went to Venezuela, the lady Art, who was one of the ringleaders, went to Venezuela. She was given a Venezuelan passport because the Venezuelan claimed that as she was born in Essequibo, Essequibo is a part of Venezuela, and therefore she was entitled to a passport. 5 policemen were killed in that thing. And the nationalistic fervor in me as a young man, I there with some big boys and boys talking about this, Venezuela wanting to invade Guyana. And then during the talk, they talk about the youth corps, where they were training young men and so on to defend. And so I jumped up and I went to the post office, got a form, and I filled out the form, called for an interview at Parliament Building. And then eventually on the 3rd of October 1969, I, along with a lot of youths, went to Chumachumari to be part of the Guyana Youth Corps. And there we were trained and so on. And the nationalistic fervor has always been with me. They could say what they want. I consider myself a patriot. And that is why I have to call out corruption and all of that. And talking about that too, the people get shallow memory, And I've said these things are not taught in school. Ask school children now about the Rupununi uprising. Ask them about the Rupununi uprising. Ask policemen about the Rupununi uprising. They don't know. And let me tell you, the Rupununi uprising, 5 policemen killed. Inspector Whittington Braffett, his regulation number 4412. He was the father of the Witty that we know, Witty Braffett that we know, used to be at Presidential Guard. He's somewhere around now. That was his father. His father was the inspector there, was killed. The other sergeant, 4590 James Anderson, he too was killed in that uprising. You had 5611 James Mackenzie was killed, constable. You have Constable 5691 William Norton was killed. And you had Constable 7178 Kendall Michael. Those 5 policemen were killed. I remember in the case of Norton, his daughter joined the police force and was a squad mate of mine in 1974. So these things should be foremost in our memory. We can't forget these things. We cannot. I'm talking about, let me see if CC might come back on. CC, can you hear me? No, we can't hear him. So apparently he still has some technical difficulties. I suggest that you come out the studio totally and get back in if you can hear me. Right, so, and then, this morning, reading in the newspaper, I saw a letter there from one Clement John Roy. He wrote a letter, and he is telling people they should not forget October the 5th, 1992. They like to tell you that that's when democracy was restored or returned to Guyana. And I'm glad that you remember that, Clement. I'm glad. And I want you to tell those people with you what really took place on October 5th. And I want you, while you're at it, let them know of the role that the police played in restoring order, the professional role the police played in restoring order to Georgetown. And let me give you a little rundown. Because, the likes of Dharam Lal and Irfan Ali and perhaps Jack Dio and Nan Lal, they don't think they know. I don't think they know what really took place on the 5th of October, 1992. The older people like Roy, Donald Ramatar, Gail Teixeira, Ari Prasad Nokta, I don't hear about him now, and those older people who remember. And quickly, that day was election day. And early in the morning, and there was a commission of inquiry, so the report is there. I got a copy of the report someplace. Early in the morning, a particular radio announcer was in Campbellville and telling people, announcing that people were being disenfranchised and people not being allowed to vote and all of that. It would appear that many of the persons did not register. They did not have a sufficiently robust campaign to get persons to register. And what happened? People apparently turned up to vote, and because they did not register, they could not vote. And then people started to claim that they were disenfranchised, and big story. So they converged, and the Election Commission office, which was in Crowell Street at that time, just where you have Action Tire somewhere there, that was where some in that area. The chairman of the Election Commission there was Mr. Collins. I remember that very well. And they made a decision, somebody made a decision that we're going to allow them to vote. And it was clear that the intention was not for them to vote. They just wanted to make problems, right? Then the crowd moved into Regent Street and started to basically riot. At that time, I was the officer in charge of the TSU, young police officer. I was promoted superintendent the same year. I was in charge of the TSU before because I became in charge of the TSU as a deputy superintendent. I was promoted to superintendent the same year. And in lead up to elections, you train for these things. You have your riot training that you do, your crowd control training. So we were well prepared and we were well trained. We were professional. So that when people started to riot in Regent Street, I went out there with a unit. The long story, I can't tell you all here now. But I'm writing these things, I'm going to document these things. I went out there with a riot unit. And we did not see race, we did not see color, we did not see political affiliation. The people were breaking the law, and the police that I led, we decided that we were going to restore order to Georgetown, and which we did in a very short, relatively short space of time, and maintained order in the days after, all through the swearing and all that. We maintained order in Georgetown. And so that when all of these people come in now, the Durham Lals and the Nan Lal, and them talking a lot of crap, let them check. Roy, you tell them, because you know, you wrote in the letter today, did not mention that you know what took place. And let me say this. People have been encouraging me. Only recently, a businessman friend of mine said, Paul, you need to let people know what went on, because all of them trying to demonize you, and they're saying a lot of things. But had it not been for your professional action, the tongue would have had more problems. People go so far to say that maybe the PPP might never even get the opportunity to come into power. And I was praised as the most professional police officer in the Guyana Police Force. That's what they say. Again, Roy, tell them, Clement, tell them, Donald Ramatar, people like Nocta, the older ones, them now come, them Johnny come lately, and you know, well, they don't read, I think, to know that. And even they know, they're going to stifle their conscience. October the 5th, 1992, order was restored. One of the greatest compliments paid to me in my entire service as a policeman was on the very night. While we were there dealing with the people who were behaving disorderly, even rioting, they broke stores and all of that. The helicopter flying overhead and all of that, right? The light one, I don't know what you're talking about there. But let me say this. You can say whatever you want to say. We did not kill anybody. They went to Linden with a demonstration there, and 3 persons died. During the whole disturbance in 1992, October 5th and onwards, no one died. And it wasn't by mistake. We were professional. We know what type of force to use to disperse the crowd, and we did. I was saying, the chief of staff then came at the corner of Regent and Camp Street and asked to speak to the police officer. He wanted to know who was the police officer in charge. And I went to him. And when he saw me, he said, Paul, you're in charge? I said, yes, I'm in charge. He said, well, look, I don't need that worry any longer. I'm going back to headquarters. And I felt that was one of the greatest compliments paid to me. Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force came out there and told me that the fact that I was there dealing with the thing, he had nothing to worry about. He was going back to barracks. And he did that. He went back to barracks. And as I've said, the business community, the new government, they all praised me because they knew the role I played in restoring order and maintaining order. When the people were going to marching onto Freedom House, it was Paul Slow and the unit from the TSU at the corner of Rob and what a street near Wellington Street. When the people decided they were going to clearance to do to make issues there, it was we, the unit under the TSU. We went there and we took the necessary action, and nothing and burned down. There was no big setup, mayhem. Things restored very quickly. The very year I went to Jamaica to represent Guyana in rifle shooting. And when we got there, I had a friend who used to work with CARICOM here. He was introducing me to all the people there as the man who restored order in Georgetown. So Clement, let them know. And it's the same Paul Slow. The same Paul Slow, professional Paul Slow all the years. So they can jump high, they can jump low, the records are there. And as I've said, there was a commission of inquiry. And I have a report on that. But some joker saying that 5 persons died. Who are the persons? Not a single person died during that October 5th problem in Jordan. Not a single person. If you are saying some man named Rajkumar Singh, let me put it up. Some man say Rajkumar Singh said we're telling lies that 5 persons died, looters. Not a single person. Not a single. And I challenge you and all the others to name the persons who you said, who you're going to say died. Name them. Name them. Right? Name them, man. Look, a man here who was there with me at the TSU. Oh, look, he put it up here. He was there during that period. So they're going to come, they're going to say all kind of things. We know 3 persons died in Linden. We know 3 persons died in Linden. So therefore, I have a proud record of service. And let me tell you this further. Let me tell you this. As I said, when I briefed my ranks, I made it clear to them, we are not politicians. We were law enforcement officers. I know I voted for the PNC. I suspect many of them voted for the PNC as well. But when we had our job to do, we were going to do our job. Many of the people who were there protesting were perceived to be PNC supporters, but that did not deter us. That did not prevent us from doing what was the professionally correct thing. So again, Clement, I'm glad you mentioned that, but I would think that you should also go to tell them the role the police played in restoring order and providing protection for the government, the new ministers and all of that. I said, Gail Teixeira and them know it too. They all know it. I don't know if people like Nanlal and Irfan Ali and Dharamlal and Jack Dudas read enough. I suspect at some stage those discussions might have been had in the Freedom House, and they would have been able to know. What actually took place. And I said the records are there. There was a commission of inquiry. I have a copy of the report, and they would have access to it to see exactly what transpired. I noted my colleague is still having some technical difficulties, and I will continue. Now, let me say this. So I needed to get that. I needed to make that point about October the 5th, because I know they're going to jump up tomorrow, which is October the 5th, and they're going to say all kind of things. Yeah. They will deliberately forget the instrumental role played by the Guyana Police Force, specifically the TSU and A Division. Mr. Assistant Commissioner Sultan Kasim was in charge of A Division at the time. Commissioner of Police was Larry Lewis. They will forget the important role the police played in making sure that there was order. That order. So this man will come for say people died and all sort of thing. Name the people who died during that period. Not a single person. Yeah, persons were injured because pellets were fired and things to disperse the crowd. Tear smoke was used and all of that. And there's no this minimum force. Minimum force was used to disperse the crowd. Right? So they come with all kind of crap and try to distract. But let me move on, man. I ain't got time with them. I don't have time with them with that. Now let me say, as I've said, we are almost all 15 minutes already. Look, the next man say he was there. Look, Amar was there, right? He was there, and we were members of the police party, not a political party. Yes, BX, I remember you being a part of that. I remember a lot of persons who were there. I remember a lot of persons. I remember briefing the ranks. As I said, I was the officer in charge of TSU. And I made it clear to them that we are not going to go there and act unprofessionally. Nobody and going and shooting indiscriminately and all of that. We had the rules, we had the of engagement, and I want to ensure. I told them we will make sure that the rules of engagement were there too. I remember that briefing in the breakdown compound where I got to the ranks and I told them in no uncertain manner of the need to be very professional. And let me say this thing. Let me say this. At that time, 1992 and thereafter, in the eyes of the PNC and people in Georgetown in particular, I was the worst thing they had. I was the worst thing because they felt that I had intervened to prevent them from behaving bad. I had intervened to prevent them from allowing the government to take office and all that. So I was the worst thing. All sorts of threats and all sorts. I was the worst thing. I was the worst. So when I took action that the supporters of the PNC did not like, in the eyes of them I was the worst. In the eyes of the PPP, I was the best thing since sliced bread. And when I take action that the PPP supporters didn't like when I refused to return the gun in Barbies, then I became the worst thing for the PPP. That's the way it goes, but that's the way of how professional. When you're acting professional, that will happen. That is going to happen, but you don't mind. Make sure you follow the law. I've been saying to the young policemen, make sure that you follow the law. You cannot be compelled to carry out an unlawful order. And people have been encouraging me to write, and I am making up my mind that very soon I'm going to document all of these things. I'm going to write. Right? I'm going to do the research, and I'm going to write all of this for posterity. I'm going to write. Yeah, Ron is saying it again. Making some complimentary remarks. Thank you, my brother. Right? The light one, you aren't wrong. If you haven't been there, the light one is saying that his aunt was present and told him that a lot of women were kicked by the police. Which police? Which police? Right? Which police? I am telling you, because during that operation, we never even got into close contact with people, except for those who were arrested for breaking the law. Never got into close contact. We had tear smoke, we had pellets and all that, but yeah, we engaged from a distance. We engaged from a safe distance. But I'm not going to go into it any longer. I am saying that if you are going to bring these allegations like the light one and the mom, bring the evidence. Bring the evidence. Right? Bring the evidence. Let me move on. Let me move on. Now let me see what is the next thing that I have to talk. Oh, let me see if I can get my colleague back in, man. No, I guess he must get blackout or something like that. He's not getting in. He's not getting in. The next thing that we need to talk about is that another anniversary is approaching. That is on the 6th of this month. I think we'll deal with that another time. We don't have sufficient time now to deal with that. We're talking about the Cubana air disaster. The Cubana air disaster. Maybe on the next occasion, we're going to talk about that because we have so much more to talk about. We're not getting, we haven't got the time to deal with all this afternoon or today. We're not going to get the time. We're already into hour and 16 minutes, and my colleague, I suspect he has some either blackout or something like that because, it's a frequent thing in Guyana. Blackout all the time. Blackout all the time. So I get a strong suspicion that he is being affected by blackout at this time. So there are other issues that I wanted to talk about. Let me show you a couple of videos. We talked about traffic yesterday. Let me show you a couple before we move off. Look at this one. Look at the craziness on the road. Look at this one. Let me show it again. When we see things like this, how are we surprised when we hear a lot of accident and all? You can't be surprised. Man just turned across the road in the face of oncoming traffic. He turns across the road in the face of oncoming traffic, and there was an accident. And then we had, they said it's a fire nation. Look, fire again.
Fire in Kaituma right now. I said Kaituma in fire. Yes. Up. What's going on?
Remove from here, hey! Get the gas, boss! Remove from here, boss!
Yeah, there was a fire at Port Kaituma recently. Some boat caught fire there. Boat caught fire in Kaituma. And so every day is some issue. Every day is some tragedy in Guyana. And then in terms of accident, only Monday we spoke about the many fatal accidents. And I think another one has been reported Sunday night, where a welder from farm on the I'm sure it was West Demerara, East Bank, Essequibo, died. His bike was knocked into a trench. That's Sunday night, and he died. And the relatives were very concerned that people were there with a camera, they're filming, and nobody went to rescue this man. Eventually, some persons from his village went and rescued him, took him to the hospital. He died. That's what you have it. You have it in terms of crime. Again, let me show you this one. As I said, this place is not, Guyana is a lawless place. Let me show you this one. Look at this short clip. Again. They're saying that incident occurred somewhere in Albistown a few nights ago. A man just go up there licking shot. Wild West, a man just walk up there and pumping shots as you would shoot. Look at it. Then you had the case of another murder. Some Venezuelan woman was murdered Monday night at Tucson. Then we had a report of a woman shot in her neck outside her Barbies home. That occurred on Saturday night at Williamsburg. Because every day is some issue. And the one that, look, let me mention this one. And this is going to be the last one because I'm sure my colleague and American. Kaicho News report today. Kaicho News. The doctor who is accused of raping a pregnant Venezuelan woman has reported gone into hiding. And here what the article says. Kaicho News understand that the police have been trying to locate the man, but he has managed to keep one step ahead of the lawmen. He has not been seen at his home for the past week, and it is suspected that the man is maintaining a low profile. The doctor allegedly raped and sodomized. He raped a certain man. He raped and sodomized, and they're using the other term. That's not what the law said. But anyhow, that's what they say. The doctor is alleged to have raped and sodomized the woman on Sunday, September the 24th, at a house in Eccles, East Bank, Demerara. She had fallen into his trap after responding to a Facebook ad which sought live-in cleaners and painters. She made contact with the number attached to the ad, and the suspect persuaded her to accompany him in his pickup to go for a job interview. When they got to the location, he raped her. The woman managed to escape by convincing the doctor to take her to buy food. She reportedly seized the opportunity to escape, leaving her purse behind in the vehicle. This is reportedly not the first sex crime the man has been involved in. He has reportedly settled past matters with cash, and because of his connections in the justice system, some of his victims never received justice. And then the last paragraph says, a Chinese woman in Russia is also looking for the man to pay child support. Well, hear this. Let me say this. You know, it's a man, no name mentioned, no warrant issued. So here it is. The police said the man seems to have gone into hiding. And given the recent inclination to issue wanted bulletin, one would suspect that perhaps you have grums here now, because they know his name, they know where he lives, they know all of that. So therefore, why have they not issued a wanted bulletin for this doctor who has gone into hiding, who is alleged to have raped and sodomized this Venezuelan pregnant woman? Why have they not issued a wanted bulletin? And because I guess the person is a friend and favorite. And that is the point we have been making. It's an animal farm. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. I am saying that given the allegation against this doctor, and they know the name, they know where he lives. Why have they not up to this point issued a wanted bulletin? This incident, they say, occurred September the 24th. Today is October the 4th. Why have they not issued a wanted bulletin if they say the man seemed to have gone into hiding? You know why? Because it looks like the man got connections. And that is the problem. That is the problem. They have people issuing wanted bulletin for when they know the address, the people have been in contact with them and all of that. People who they have not made any effort to contact, they have been issuing wanted bulletin. So why have they not, in the present circumstances, issued a wanted bulletin for this doctor? And I understand it's not the first time he get brushed with the law. There was a recent incident, I understand, the same doctor was involved in. Same doctor. But that is the force that you have now. That is the force. So I'm sure the fact that they have not issued any wanted bulletin for him means that he get connection to certain politicians. Clearly. Because if you are perceived to be an opposition supporter, that wanted bulletin will have been there out a long time now. They issue wanted bulletin for people who are abroad. They're issuing wanted bulletin for people who reside overseas. And this is a case where this man committed this violent act against this unsuspecting woman. And they have not done anything like that. They have not issued any wanted bulletin. I guess now that we're talking, they might rush to do so. Well, it's not too late. It's not too late. And Sean is asking the same thing. What happened to the medical council? But you see, again, there's a presumption of innocence, and that is why I like to point out. The fact that the allegation has been made against the doctor doesn't mean that he's guilty of anything. The rule of law will suggest that he made the face, but he might end up like Darmlal, where DPP will find, or the woman is going to say that she doesn't want any further action, matter done. Matter done. So that is what we have. That is the two-tier system that we live in. That is the two-tier system. People can be arrested in a court compound for going to court for the same matter. A lawyer can be arrested for advising a client not to give a statement to the police. And you have a report where this lawyer is alleged to have sodomized. Can the woman, some advertisement, and these things are easy to prove. Because the advertisement, I'm sure they will get it as evidence, telephone number, and all of that. This is not a big investigation, as I see it, that requires Inspector Crusoe and Angela Lansbury and all of those persons. Even this very head of the OPR who cautioning people over telephone can handle this, man. It's not a big thing. This is not. So I would have expected that by now you're going to hear wanted bulletin and all of that. They get statements. I don't know. That is the problem that you have. That is the problem you have with this two-tier judicial system that they have in this country. Some people are treated in a particular way. Others are treated totally differently for almost the same thing. And that is the problem. That is a major part of the problem. So, folks, they say rape and sodomy. I read to you all already the section, the light one. The light one, the section, again, I got it here, Section 353 of the Criminal Law Offences Act, Chapter 8:01. Let me repeat that. Section 353 of the Criminal Law Offences Act of Guyana, Chapter 8:01 says, everyone who commits buggery, either with a human being or with any other living creature, shall be guilty of felony and liable to imprisonment for life. That is what the law says. Tell them about sodomy. That is what the law says. So let's understand this. Now, in closing, I suspect that my colleague, my co-defendant, is not going to be back. Because, well, we don't all 120. I'm sure he get blackout. I'm sure he get GPL based. I'm fortunate. So let me close up before they dash it in me too. Let me close up. Last week I asked a question. Up to now, may I get an answer, Up to now, I cannot get an answer. Nigel, what was the relationship between Miss Squaddy and you? W327. I'm really anxious to know what was the relationship, man. Oh, tell somebody to tell me. You don't want to reach out, but tell somebody to tell me what the relationship with you and my squad mate, W327 Basmati Dharamlal, Big South. Let me know. We got a lot of squaddies on this same program. They will know. We have BX, we have Sheila, we have Doreen, we have Anthony, quite a few squad mates here. We have Carl. A lot of people, they know the person that I'm referring to. They know the person that I am referring to. So let me understand. I really want to know what the relationship was. Out of interest. I'm a person who likes to get information. She was my squad mate, W327. Want to know was the relationship between you and that person. Now, folks, we had some other stuff to discuss, but again, time caught up with us. So I'm going to say that we are going to close. I'm going to close off here. Wanting you to be safe. And as I indicated on the last occasion, I'm attained again, Monday coming, Monday the 9th, we have code. So we're not going to have any program on Monday the 9th. We are considering having a program perhaps on Sunday at the same time. We have not formed up on it as yet, but I think we have so much more to tell you that we are considering having a program this Sunday, the 8th at 11 o'clock. Don't say you can't come to school, you got to go to church. Well, you got to go to church, you got to go to church. It is not formed. But once we agree, the notification will be sent out. And that is why, again, I say to you, go to Facebook, follow the page Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence, and go to YouTube and subscribe to the page. So once we decide that we're coming on Sunday or anyone is on scheduled time, right? You are going to get the notification. You're going to get the notification. And I see Commissioner Cole is urging us to get a program on Sunday. Yeah, we're thinking about it. We're thinking about it. So as again I say, no show on Monday. Oh God, man, don't be cruel, Rhonda. Rhonda wants a show every day. Rhonda wants a show every day. And Carlton is saying 2 p.m. on Sunday will be a good time. So Carlton is saying rather than 11 o'clock, we should have a 2 p.m. show on Sunday. But we're going to talk because 2 p.m. might be good for those persons who go to church and come back. But I'm saying I'm going to discuss with my colleague, and we are going to make a decision, and we are going to let you know. We are going to let you know. So be safe, as I've always encouraged you to be safe. COVID is making a comeback, we understand. A lot of people suffering from COVID. Dengue fever still around. And of course, the road carnage is still very much with us. So until either Sunday, whatever time we're going to tell you, or, well, most likely Sunday. I'm almost certain. Let me say 95% certain. Sunday, we're not sure about the time, but we're going to let you know. Stay tuned. Until then, be safe and God spare life. See you on Sunday. Bye. Take care.